This is a reality. You can take a risk that is so financially devastating in your later years. No matter how successful you were in your younger years, you can take a risk. In this case, she took a risk, and it doesn't sound like it was a very calculated risk. It doesn't sound like it was very well thought out. But you can take a risk that if you are not careful, you will retire, or you will be unable to retire because you have no funds. And how did you lose it all? You lost it all in the last 10, 15 years. Thank you so much for joining me. We're going to listen to a story that has gone viral this past week. It's from the channel I Am Celeste Jones. This is a 57-year-old woman. She's the exact same age that I'm at, and she has gone broke chasing a dream. Because she has chosen to put herself out there for the rest of us to learn from with her face and her name, we're going to take an extra kind approach to it, unlike what I might do if this were on the Dave Ramsey show. So let's go ahead and hear her story. And of course, it's in the description box if you don't wish to hear it with my commentary.
It has been really tough for me, and because of some decisions that I have made that I regret making. I always talk about Atlanta, and I feel like when I left my corporate job making a good salary and decided to chase a dream, thinking everything would fall into place, things would be in order, my life blew up. It has not been the same in 3 years. And I've had a lot of thoughts around it, and I may talk longer than I need to, but so I'm sorry.
If she wants to talk longer than she needs to, she's on the correct channel.
I have to break this up. But when today was a hard day. Reality is something else. I recognize that most of it is my doing and undoing. And honestly, I really want God to wave a magical wand and take me back to the day I was going to resign and listen to the advice I was given. But I didn't, because I think I'm grown and I have the answers. And I found out I don't. I used to say I would want to go back before that bad relationship out of college, and I'll talk about that, but I don't want to go back that far. I just want to go back 3 years. The scary part about it is, even if I had made what I thought would be the perfect decisions, it doesn't mean anything would have ended up differently. I still could have been in this predicament. I didn't see this coming. I thought I had prepared, and evidently I didn't, which makes me think about a couple of things.
Now, before she gets further into this, I only have heard about probably 5 minutes of it. I shouldn't say watching, but I was listening to it in my car on my way to work this morning, but didn't have a chance to finish it. So I don't know if I'm going to play the whole thing or not, but parts of it I have not heard, and I'll be hearing it for the first time with you. But I think, in spite of her age of being 57, again, she and I are the same age, I think that this is something that people who are younger, much younger, this is the benefit of the internet, is that younger people can learn from older people. So many people right now in their 20s and 30s, they're out chasing their money, they're out chasing the corporate dream. And it's a very, spend lifestyle. It's, bag as much money as you possibly can. But then there comes a point where you may have to decide, in your life, do you keep chasing dreams, or is there a time to settle down? And it seems, just from what I've heard of this so far, is she was chasing a corporate dream to some extent, but then decided to shift that dream a bit. And it is that shift that it appears that she made later in life that was damaging. And this is something young people in your 20s, 30s, and 40s too, can certainly learn from.
Okay, so what happened was, let me just go back. When I left my corporate job, I was 54, I believe, 53, 54. And I'm on the latter half of my life. And sometimes I think and ask myself, what was I thinking? Was it really that important to you? Could you not have just kept it going and done this later? But I didn't. So I stepped out. I believed everything would fall into place and I would be okay. And y'all, when God tells you something, listen and be obedient to it. And I didn't. And I know that is part of the reason I'm having issues today. When I left to go to Atlanta to pursue acting, I kept hearing, you're not going to need to look for a job. You're not going to need to look for a job. And unbeknownst to me, he had something waiting for me. Before I left, someone here in Memphis connected me to somebody in Atlanta about, working a job. And I started going through the process, the interview, filling out the application, and able to do the job. It was something that was right up my alley. Unfortunately, I allowed myself to I self-sabotaged. And I said, you know what? I can't do this job. I'm going to be acting. I don't know when I'll need off, when I'll do this, A, B, C, and D. Made an excuse because I'm thinking it's going to be okay. You'll get someplace steady, consistent. You'll be able to take off when you need to and so forth. Because I'm thinking, I don't want to interrupt or get anybody else in trouble. If I had been a little bit more wise and I guess maybe selfish, I would have taken the job without question. That was in October of 2022, rolling into November. I did not find a job until September of 2022, almost a whole year.
So she quits her corporate job to go into acting. Now, I'm a person who stays up on the news a lot. Okay, I'm a news junkie. I think if you're a regular content creator on YouTube, I think you tend to be kind of, to some extent, you have to be kind of a news junkie. Okay, just because you have to know what's going on in the world. The Screen Actors Guild, the writer's strike. Okay, that's been going on for some time. If she perhaps had known that acting right now, it's a real perilous journey right now for actors. When I think of an acting career, I typically think of someone who perhaps started younger. They've been in it most of their life, and then maybe one day they might get the big break. Maybe as long as they're waiting tables and working at Target in between and all that. I don't typically think of it as someone who has held a corporate job all their life and then in their 50s goes, hey, I'm going to be an actor. But if you think about it, with all the acting strikes and stuff going on, this is not a good time to go into acting. And then she says a friend of a friend, or that type of relationship tries to hook you up. Sounds like this should have been a hobby, not a career pursuit. And sounds like she was trying to pursue it as a career.
I hustled. I drove DoorDash. I did Amazon deliveries. I worked overnight at Walmart. I did everything I could. And I'm sorry, y'all. I did it's called Insta work. Everything I could. And then I also ended up withdrawing my pension and my retirement because I just didn't have enough money.
Okay. All right. I turned it off before we got to this part. Oh, this is like a Dave Ramsey call, just without the face and the name. The horror stories that we hear about. And when I got ready to do this video, I did see some of the comments on her page and stuff, and they were very encouraging about, this is just a transition, it's just a phase. Okay, that is all good and well, but let's really take a hard look at it. Well, it may be just a transition and just a phase. Who wants to be in it? Nobody. And I understand that we're doing words of encouragement and we're being kind. I get it. But there has to be some point where we have to learn from each other's life lessons. okay? And this is why it's so commendable that Celeste is putting her story out here. This is not what you want to do approximately 10 years before retirement. Again, she and I are the exact same age, and I think we even had the exact same hair color practically, okay? So it's almost like looking at a mirror image of myself and thinking to myself, okay, I've been in education 19 years. I start my 20th year this fall. Should I stop it and just go all in on YouTube? No, absolutely not. YouTube's a hobby. That's what it is. I would never leave my bread and butter job, the career that I built. She clearly built a career in corporate. She clearly built a very strong career. She had her, her pension, income, and all that. That is heartbreaking. That is absolutely heartbreaking.
And this is not how I expected things to go. I really didn't, because I'd always landed on my feet. And this is the first time I had not.
But you landed on your feet. And young people, I want you to hear this. Those of you in your 20s and 30s and even your early 40s, landing on your feet is easier when you are younger. Much easier. Trying to make those same logistical moves when you are 10 years, even, 12, some people might even push to 15 years before retirement. It's not the same game. It doesn't matter that that we're in our 50s and we feel, some days, okay, I feel like I could be in my 30s. Some days I feel like I've already passed my 60s, okay? But the moves that we make in our 50s have to, in my opinion, be much more logistically thought out, okay? So we look at how easy it was to get hired in our 20s and 30s. It's like, yeah, I remember living in Los Angeles, and literally I could quit a job without a job to go to, and I'd have a new job in a week. Okay, it was that easy. Yeah, but I was a 20-something. Economy was also different as well. Remember, this just has this video of hers is from a week ago, barely a week old. This experience where she decided to quit her job was 3 years ago. Well, what was going on in the economy? Ah, yes, the rounding ending of COVID. Rents are starting to rise. The housing market has its issues, right? We have to be much more logistical in our 50s. And there may come a time, but we don't like to admit it. Can it be too late to chase a dream? Can it be too late? I say yes. It can be too late to chase a dream in the manner that you would have originally liked to have chased it. Okay? So perhaps she really would have loved to have been an actor. That perhaps should have been pursued decades ago. Like I said earlier, she was working at Target and Starbucks. But when you get to this age, perhaps that dream career needs to be modified a bit and turned into a weekend hobby, a summer hobby. If you're a teacher and you got a little extra time in the summer and you don't need to work, or something like that. I know lots of people, will sit and say, oh, yeah, well, kudos to her for chasing her dream and all that. That's fine and all well. But the bottom line is we forget that sometimes our age affects the way other people see us, even though we don't think it should, even though, yes, I understand there are laws out there that, age discrimination and all this stuff should not exist if you're capable of doing the job, yada, yada. We get that. But we have to play in the real world. So when she said, hey, I was doing my 50s what came so easy to me in my younger years, we have to remember your age matters. It's just, it's a fact of life.
So I went and I finally got a job and was working at a company. I talked to them, told them I do acting. Every now and then I might need some time off. Because, I wasn't doing like big time. I wasn't gone all the time. It was fine. They hired a manager who had a problem with it. And she didn't want to give me any additional opportunities. She had issue with me. And I'm a worker. I'm dependable. Most of the time I was there, and I would look around and I would see other people not showing up for work, leaving early, coming late. And that's not how I work. I'm going to be on time. I'm sorry. I'm going to be on time. I'm going to work my butt off. I'm going to help you. I'm going to support you. I'm going to leave on, I'll leave at my designated hour if I don't have anything else hanging or, over. I eventually ended up leaving in April because she was riding me. And I was like, I am not going to put up with this. Well, sorry, was checking to see if someone else was there. But I ended up finding another job. I was working Amazon in the warehouse. Did that for a while. I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And eventually got another job. Okay, that was April. And July, started a new job in July 10th. It was a contract to hire position. So I was getting on my feet and everything. And
she's doing now what people in their 20s are doing, working Uber, Grubhub. I don't know if she said Grubhub, but she said she was Ubering. She's working, not career now. She's working these jobs. She's working Amazon. And don't forget, family, okay? She was a corporate employee. Don't forget to get the point, the perspective that she was coming from. She was a corporate employee. She had a full pension or whatever her savings account, her retirement accounts. She was set to retire in 10 years, staying the course.
I felt bad because my goal was the young lady I was living with, I was only going to be there a year. And I ended up being there the whole time, minus maybe a couple of months, few months. Because what ended up happening, I got my job, I was getting on my feet, I was like, I want my own place. Moved out, and the place I moved into was roach infested. And I thought, okay, maybe this is a fluke. I'm seeing a few. They exterminated. It's probably been empty a while. But no. Y'all, I slept in my bedroom, tried to cover the door so they couldn't get in. It didn't matter. They got in. I woke up one morning and there was some crawling up the wall. And I thought, I can't do this. I had ordered furniture and I had to cancel that order. I never unpacked, and then I would have to unpack when I got ready to leave. When I finally was like, I've had enough of Atlanta. Nothing's working out. I'm broke. I can't seem to get on my feet. I'm not bouncing back. I was stressed. I thought, I'm going home, and I had been talking to my sister and everything, and I hate it because I felt like I quit too soon and I gave up, but I did not. I felt as if I didn't have a choice. So I talked to my employer and she said I could work remote if I committed for 2 years. Y'all, when you get ready to make a major decision, talk to God first. Because you can talk to people and they will talk you out of what you ask God for. Because I asked God specifically if I could have a job, I could work remote, I could stay with this company, and I could move back to Memphis. Well, in my ear, and then even me, so I can't blame it on them because it was my final decision. I decided not to work remote. I regretted that because I'm thinking I'll go back to my old company. That did not happen, and I'm still not there. I've been back since August of 2024, and it is, what month is this? This is February of 2025. I applied for several positions, and I have enough rejection emails from them. If I printed them out, I could wallpaper at least one wall.
I can tell you that being this age, this was a bad career move, and of course she knows it's a bad career move. That's why she made the video, okay? But something that we need to consider when we get older, also, okay? Not just the fact that you're competing against a lot of people who are younger than you are, all right, in jobs that can be hired for less money than you can, even though your skills may be even more advanced just because you've had more time in the field. Something to consider, folks, is look, turning things down, okay, like job opportunities at this age, you really can't afford to turn down a lot of opportunities. And I think, like I said earlier, I think part of her problem is she's in her 50s, but she's got the mindset as if she's in her 30s, and these opportunities can be afford it to be turned down. They really, really can't. You have 50-year-olds who can't get any job, like not even at Amazon. And they are literally living in poverty as a result. And then you have Celeste here, who has no reason, and I think this is what makes the story kind of difficult for her, is that she had no reason to be in this position. She had no reason. She's not here because, she had to take care of an ailing family member, was forced to move. She's not here because, she got sick herself. This was all voluntarily done. And I think that's what makes it so difficult.
I am not going back. I don't know what's on my file, but they are not hiring me back.
What's on the file, I believe, is your age at this point. That's what's on the file. I'm only guessing, okay? Because she wasn't fired, she voluntarily quit.
Period. So I've had to live with that. Before I left, my boss told me, don't leave. But I left anyway. Much regret.
And it's okay to say you have regret. I think so oftentimes, people, the ones that try to encourage you say, oh, no, you did the right thing. You were chasing your dream. Go for it. No, it's okay to say, you know what? That was a really dumb move. I really shouldn't have done that. It's okay to say that. And if you're the person listening, okay, you're trying to be the supportive friend, maybe they actually need you to say that with them. Yeah, you know what? That probably wasn't the greatest move, but now let's see what we can do about it. But there are people out there who are meaning to be kind, and instead of saying, yeah, you know what, you're right, that really wasn't the greatest move, they want to brush that mistake aside. But I've learned in my 57 years that if you want to advance yourself financially and everything else, relationship-wise, the whole 9 yards, you have to be willing to admit what worked and what did not work. You have to be willing to admit what you could have done better. And so when we don't allow people to say, you know what, yeah, that was a bad move, I regret doing that, and instead we try to brush it off and go, oh, no, that's what God wanted. Okay?
Here I am, February, and I realized, back in August, I moved in with someone, and it was not the ideal situation. I had conversations with this person before, and I should have gone with what I knew. In the beginning, the person didn't want me to move in, and I should not have. Eventually, she opened up her doors to me, and it wasn't horrible, but there were challenges. And there are other things I won't discuss, but there were challenges. But she allowed me. We set our rent. She was very kind about it and everything because I was still looking for a job. So I just tried to make sure I could give her, what we agreed upon every month. And I did. I got here. I DoorDashed. I did anything I could. Mostly was DoorDash to make money so I could try to keep up with my bills. Something happened and I felt it was time for me to move out. I did get a contract position in October, but by that time I was behind on a few things, not severely. Moved out, got my own place, and I am happy about having my own place because ain't nothing like going home and it's quiet. Run through your house, however you want to. So, decorate how you want to, move things around like you want to. You know what I'm saying. Moved in, just felt that, applied for the apartment, applied, moved in. It's a good apartment complex. The rent is not ridiculous. It's decent in my opinion. Still on a contract position, trying to make ends meet. They are waving at each other. Every now and then they shake hands. And I don't know what happened in the last 30 days, and it just seemed like everything, it's as if the bottom is falling out. And I go through this, God, I've done everything I believe you've asked me to do. I do need to have a little bit more joy behind it. I believe I'm where I'm supposed to be. I believe I was supposed to come back to Memphis. I believe I was supposed to go to this place, do this, X, Y, and Z. Why am I struggling? Where is the support? And I keep thinking back. He set everything up, and I feel like I spit in his face. And I'm...
What she means by he set everything up was he gave her the corporate job. He gave her the wealth, so to speak. Okay, maybe not rich, but just like me as a school teacher. Okay, I will definitely not retire rich, but I won't retire broke either. Okay, but he set her up financially so she could have a solid retirement, and that's what she's talking about.
Being punished, but I know that's not how God works.
Don't always think God works in terms of punishment. Of course, in my, rough tumble days in my 20s and 30s, you feel like it's punishment. Okay, you really, really do. But what you really come to realize is it's you living your life, making your decisions, accepting the consequences of those decisions, and you have to just continue to have faith in yourself to keep moving forward. But as I get older, I think it's less about reward and punishment and more about your faith and your ability to believe in yourself and to accept the consequences of the decisions that you make.
These are the repercussions of my own actions. And I'm not angry at him, but I am angry with myself. And it's been tough.
And in my opinion, excuse me, in my opinion, being angry with yourself, that's not going to solve anything. But I think most of us can understand, at a time in our life we've been angry with ourselves, like how could we have done this to ourselves?
I have one person who I tell everything to. And I know somebody watching this thinks it's them, but it's not. Sorry, I almost went somewhere. Because I realized you cannot share with people even if they're considered a friend. I just got to a point where I was tired of being stuff thrown back in my face, no support. Sometimes I just need people to listen and let me just have my moment and not criticize me for it. But I'm going to leave that over there. Right over. Okay, so... But I have someone, I consider her sister, a really good friend that I can talk to, I can call, she'll pray with me. She understands the spiritual things I'm going through, as well as the physical and the financial. And I don't feel horrible when I get off the phone, where with so many other people, I feel like crap. I am hard enough on myself, and it's difficult because I think back to who I am. I went to school to college on an academic scholarship. I graduated with honors. I'm talented, I'm smart, I have a great work ethic, and it's just been hard because I'm not making the money I was making. But God knows I am so grateful to be working. And I've just panicked because I'm trying not to resort to any of my old ways. I don't want to borrow any money.
Well, and I'm sure part of the panic is, that runway to retirement. If you're wanting to retire, her age, okay, we could retire at 67 with full Social Security benefits. So I'm sure part of the panic that she's got is she's like, oh my God, I'm back to square one again. She's back to what she was like in her 20s, perhaps. Okay, how do you build that when you've only got a really short runway? And like I said earlier, you're looking at age discrimination, whether we'd like to admit it or not. It exists.
Because of course my credit has tanked, my life to come back together, and it's hard.
I'm going to encourage my subscribers to check out her channel. Maybe show her some support and love and subscribe if you feel that her channel is something that would give value to you.
Hard, and I think, oh my gosh, I am 7 years on the other side of 50, and waiting for this to work out is hard. And I don't know what I'm going to do. She kind of laughed at me because I said, you know what? I am at the point where I want to give away what I can give away, put all my stuff in storage, and live in my car. I don't want to do that. Please, God, that is not what I want. I don't want to do that. That's
Sorry.
how I feel, because I feel like that's the only way I'm going to catch up and get back on track. This
And this is a reality, young people out there. This is a reality. You can take a risk that is so financially devastating in your later years. No matter how successful you were in your younger years, you can take a risk. In this case, she took a risk, and it doesn't sound like it was a very calculated risk. It doesn't sound like it was very well thought out. But you can take a risk that if you are not careful, you will retire, or you will be unable to retire because you have no funds. And how did you lose it all? You lost it all in the last 10, 15 years.
this is hard. This is harder than I thought it would be, and it's the first time in my life I have felt like I don't have an out, that I'm stuck and I can't move. And
Because when you're young, the out is, oh, I have another 25, 30 years. Think about that. Okay? You make this type of move at 30, you don't retire until 67. Hey, you got your out. Where is your out when you're 57?
that is suffocating. And it makes me, in this wide open space, claustrophobic, life claustrophobic, and it's difficult. I love my job. I mean, it's not anything to write home about, but it's peaceful here. I get along with, I get along with the people. My manager here is great. I cannot complain. Everything that has happened are the repercussions of my actions, because I chose to chase a dream and I feel like I did it the wrong way. So here I am. I'm sitting in my car at work and I said, record the video. Somebody I watch and used to follow, I don't follow anymore, I won't call their person's name, but they were a financial guru, said something. Basically, if you haven't, I guess you haven't accomplished or gained or whatever, you shouldn't be on YouTube. You shouldn't be talking about your life. You need to, basically saying you need to wait until, you're all set and you're good and you can go back and talk about how you made it. Y'all, I'm in it. And I'm going to record while I'm in it. And this is hard because this is embarrassing. This is not how I thought my life would be. But there.
Hey, let me tell you, before I decided to start this YouTube channel a few years back, and talk about my 2 bankruptcies and my auto repossession and my 25 cents in my checking account and how I was dumped and divorced and he left and all that. Let me tell you something. The reason we ultimately choose to share it is because we want to help somebody. That's really what it comes down to, is because, and I remember before I started my YouTube channel on Monday, I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, what are my peers going to think? What are my, acquaintances going to think? But what you begin to realize? Here's the cool part, okay? Some people are so busy with their own lives, they ain't even going to tune into your YouTube channel, so you don't have to worry about that. And the ones that are tuning in, okay, they have some semblance and order in their life to know that, hey, money is important and we can learn from other people. So it's kind of like all those fears that I had about, they're going to look at me different in the lunch line because they found out, oh, yes, and when you were 30 years old, you were broke and had a bankruptcy and you had your car taken. And just, my financial picture has only gotten really good in the last few years. Yeah, at 57, it took into my 50s before it really started getting solid. And you begin to realize that I guess if there's a good point, all the judging that you think people are going to be doing on social media, guess what? If worse comes to worse, just tune it all out and tell your story.
There's so many other things I know I have to be grateful for. I'm not, I don't have any, I guess, crazy, I'm not homeless. I'm not homeless. I still have my car, but, I'm just tired of robbing Peter and Paul to pay Andrew, who now wants his money. I know, it's crazy the way I say those things. But I'm tired. I don't want to borrow. I don't want to ask my family for help. Not that they would. Not that they would have an issue with it, but.
And there's a difference between temporary help, short term, and long term help. The short term, of course, is hey, I need a place to sleep, for maybe a couple of weeks. The long term is how am I going to retire? I just spent all my retirement money.
I'm too old. I just, I need this to come together.
All right, I'm going to go stop it here because we're about the 35-minute mark, and there are just a couple of things that I want to talk about before we close. First off, don't forget to check out Celeste's channel, okay? And I haven't really had a chance to look at her channel in depth, okay, because I was just made aware of the story in the last day or so. But I will tell you, as like I said, as someone, she and I are both 57 years old. I can tell you that I think one of the advantages, if there is an advantage about my financial history being so difficult, is that in many ways it's almost like she and I flipped positions. Okay, so let me explain. In other words, I spent my 20s and 30s and a lot of my 40s broke. Okay, things started getting better in my 40s because I became a teacher at 38, started finding my groove in my career and all of that. So as I got closer to my 50s, things got better. But my 20s and 30s and early 40s, even the mid 40s, it was like hell on earth financially. So by the time I finally got myself stabilized in my 50s, and I have here behind me my little 840 square foot condo. It's paid off. My 2024 Toyota Corolla hybrid, I got that new. I managed to pay that off in 9 months because I had the ability to save. In other words, I have found my stability, my footing. That came to me in my 50s. But from what I hear about Celeste, it seems as though she had it made financially. So her 20s and 30s and 40s were filled with financial success. She held the corporate job. And by the way, when I was younger, I wanted to be a corporate person. I truly, truly wanted to be the corporate executive. Okay, I wanted to wear, a cute little black business suit, little Coach handbag, my briefcase. I mean, I wanted to look the part. Okay, I wanted to be the part and be intelligent enough, of course, to match it. But that's what I wanted. But it wasn't meant to be for me. Okay, I wound up becoming a school teacher at 38 and followed my parents for a third generation. But in many ways, Celeste and I are just in opposite life and career spans. So it appears to have spent her 20s, 30s, and 40s financially successful, which gave her the confidence to go, hey, you know what? She said this happened. She made this move 3 years ago. She goes, hey, you know what? I'm 54. You know what? Things have gone so well for me. I'm going to throw it all to the wind and become an actor. Never mind that Screen Actors Guild isn't doing really well, okay? We just came out of COVID, rent's high. You understand the story. Whereas I, at this age, same age, went, oh my God, I made through my 20s, 30s, and 40s barely financially. So what do I do in my 50s? I lock it down, meaning I button up the hatches. I don't take extreme risks. Yeah, YouTube cost me a little bit, but much as I love you all, if this channel were to, if I thought for a minute having a YouTube channel was going to make me go broke, we would be done today. No, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I actually intend to hold this channel for many, many years. Okay, this channel's not going anywhere. But in other words, she and I were in opposite positions. I was broke. She was making money. We get older. That confidence that she had making that money gave her a false sense of security. And I think we can say that, okay? She even says it herself. There's regret. It gave her a false sense of security that at 57, she could pull off what she did in her 20s, 30s, and 40s. I, at 57, am going, oh, heck no. I don't want to go back to what my financial life and my mental health was like in my 20s, 30s, and 40s. So I don't take those risks. So Comme si, comme ça, right? Anyways, I wanted to just check out her story with you guys because it has gone viral. Big thanks to Celeste. I'm sure she's got so many people talking about her right now. I'm sure she'll never see this. But Celeste, if you do, thank you for sharing your story. And of course, you can always reach out to me directly if you wish to. Okay? All right, guys. Let's go ahead and let's check out a story of other people who are in their 50s, 60s going broke. And we're going to do that right now.